Kansas FBLA. I am Allison Railsback, serving as the District 4 Vice President. Today, I will help you, as a chapter member, go through some of the basics on how you can run a formal business meeting in your chapter. Today, we will be going over some of the basics on how to run a meeting, which includes types of motions, how to debate, and some different uses of the gavel taps. Straight out of the FBLA format guide is an agenda sample. This will help you and your chapter officers set up the proper way of how the order of business should go. As always, you start with calling the meeting to order, and this can be by your chapter president or the chairman. Then you would go through the roll call of the members, which will be taken by the secretary. After that, in most situations, the secretary will read the minutes of the previous meeting, and then the treasurer's report will follow. If your chapter does officer reports, then you would continue on with the other different chapter officers. After that, you will move on to committee reports, which can be a variety of things such as social activities or fundraising. Continuing on, you would go to unfinished or old business. This is business that has not been voted on and is still pending. You will then move on to new business, which is new motions that is brought up to the chapter. Announcements or date of the next meeting could continue, and then adjournment is the last end of the meeting. According to your chapter, state, or even the national bylaws, a quorum is the minimum number of voting members that are present to be able to conduct business for that chapter or meeting. And if the quorum is not met, none of the business from that meeting can be transacted, meaning you cannot technically vote on matters unless there is a quorum present. And this can, in most cases, it is a majority of the registered voting delegates or voting members. Each FBLA chapter usually has officers, and these officers help play a role in the running a formal business meeting. Your president presides over all meetings or even events, and they help with executive decisions and appointing committees and making the agenda. The secretary then works with the president and keeping an accurate record of all meetings and how many members are in attendance at those meetings. The rest of the officers also help in the assistance of running the meeting. The gavel or the gavel taps play an important role in chapter meetings. One tap usually indicates the result of a vote. It grabs the attention of the members. It also indicates that members should sit after opening or closing ceremonies, and it also ends the meeting. 2 gavel taps indicate that the meeting is called to order. 3 taps mean that the members should rise or to stand. And a series of taps restores order in the meeting. There are 4 types of motions: main, privileged, subsidiary, and incidental, and each motion is different. Some motions require seconds, while others do not. In some cases, motions are debatable, and most of the time this occurs in our privileged series of motions. After my freshman year, when I started searching more in depth of parliamentary procedure, I found out that not all motions require a majority vote, if any. As you can see on this chart, division of the assembly has no second, or it doesn't require a vote. And if you want to limit or extend debate, this requires a 2/3 vote. As a chapter officer, especially our presidents and parliamentarians, it is important to review what each motion requires. And even at your table, you could have this list and help you through your meeting. If a member wants to make a motion, they will have to obtain the floor. This can be done by addressing the chair. They will have to stand and say their title. Example would be, Mr. Mr. President, or Madam Chairman. After you address the chair, you have to wait until you are recognized by them. At that point, you can make your motion. You should speak in a clear and concise manner and state affirmatively, "I move that." You should avoid all personal subjects and stay on the subject at hand. Once the motion is made, there needs to be a second to continue on. If there is no second, the motion dies. But if there is a second, we will then move on to debate. The chairman will state the motion that was made, and then we'll ask, "Are you ready for the question?" In most cases, the maker of the motion has the right to speak first. The debaters will either speak in favor or against the motion. If you are the maker, you are most likely in favor. Then you will speak in the allotted time frame. This can either be 1 to 5 minutes, whatever is depending on your chapter bylaws or whatever was set before the motion was made. I learned this my freshman year as the rule of thirds when you are debating. At the very beginning, you say that you are either in favor or against, and then you would back that up with some different evidence or clearly state why you want this. At the end of which, you will then say how the members should vote. An example of this can be, "I am strongly opposed to this motion. On February 2nd, we are having a district contest, and many of the members would not want to stay in town any later because it is their day off of school, and half of our chapter members..." There are a variety of options chapters have to vote. This can be done either by voice, roll call, general consent, division of the assembly, or by ballot. In most cases, a chapter will use voice voting. And if you are in favor for the motion, you will say aye, and if you are opposed to the motion, you will say no. However, a common mistake in many chapters is that you will say nay instead of no. However, it is always no, not nay. As well, there is the division of the assembly, that is by raising hands or standing of the chapter membership. Parliamentary procedure is the best way to get things done at your meetings, but it will only work if you use it properly. Make sure you always keep in consideration on the different types of motions and what their vote requires. Also, you need to make sure that your members are obtaining the floor properly and always saying "I move" rather than "I motion." You also need to be able to speak clearly and concisely and where everyone can be able to hear you. You should always obey the rules of debate and most importantly, be courteous.